other day. I was like, don't worry.
Everyone falls in love at some point in their lives. For most of us, our first experience of the intense emotions generated by love occurs with our tentative steps during puberty to form serious relationships. Nothing can prepare young people for the powerful highs and lows they can experience during this time. They're often left feeling vulnerable and confused. Young people want to learn about relationships and sex, but they have very few opportunities where they can talk with adults in order to make some sense of it all. So what role can teachers play in helping pupils prepare emotionally and practically for adult life? We asked some teenagers to share their thoughts and feelings about relationships.
I used to like celebrity boys and read loads of magazines, think, oh, I like him, like that, and pretend I had a celebrity crush and all that. But I wasn't really interested in boys at that time.
At first they were all horrible and you didn't want to go near them, they had germs and all this. But then in sort of the end of primary school, right at the end, year 6, you started to worry more about what you look like and stuff.
Going up into secondary school, it kind of throws you into, whoa, look at all these girls. It was around that age that I started noticing them.
I started to mature around 11, 12. I started to look at things differently, and then you start to meet boys and they don't really mature till a bit later.
I didn't really feel pressurised to go and get a girlfriend, but I felt like, at this age, should I have a girlfriend by now? It's more friendship rather than actual relationship at that age. Just being a very close friend with a girl, and you kind of look cool amongst your mates if you have a girlfriend.
You'd say I love you at a young age, but you wouldn't really mean it. You said it just because everyone said it, but now it's starting to really become something that you say to someone because you really like them.
So what time have you got to be there?
The prom starts at 7, but we've got an hour's cruise in the limo.
Right. An hour's cruise.
I'm hoping I don't get travel sick.
Emma, Rachel and Kirsten are 16. They've just finished their final day at school. As far as they're concerned, issues like college, university, the world of work, finding a partner, that's all in the future. Tonight they want to live for the moment. It's the annual school prom, and their boyfriends are at the door.
Who?
Harry!
What's his tie look like? Very bright, because that's the only thing I can see is his tie.
Don't let him see my dress! Don't let him see my dress! Harry was basically the first relationship, because all the others were just oh, we're going out for a week and stuff. But Harry has been 18 months now.
It got serious between me and Chris at probably the end of year 10. He makes me smile when I see him. He's always there to make me happy.
The best part of being in a relationship with someone is just sharing different experiences with each other, meeting new people together, and always having someone there you can rely on. Me and Tom have this thing where we just can tell each other everything, and it's always nice to have that one person you can trust with everything and tell them anything you want at any time.
He laughs at himself all the time and that makes me laugh. He knows how to cheer me up, he knows what I like now, so if I'm upset he'll instantly know what to do.
Although he can make me the happiest in the world, sometimes he's the one that makes me the saddest, so it's mixed.
You can get upset, obviously, when there's arguments and angry and the things he does. I get quite annoyed at him a lot, but it always is overlooked by all the good things.
Obviously we have our bad times, which could happen any time, but it's just learning new things together, and when we do have arguments, you learn something new about them each time you have that argument. I do worry about if the time comes and he meets someone or I meet someone. At the moment you think, oh, I can't imagine my life without him, or things like that. But it is a very young age at this time, and we could meet new people in college, but I think while the time lasts you should just enjoy.
The school prom has become a rite of passage for many British teenagers. They feel it gives them the chance to experience the glamour and excitement of being a celebrity, if only for a single evening. Emma and her friends are hoping it will prove to be a night to remember.
At first you were a bit excited, but as it came closer you got more and more excited.
When you're at school you look completely different. You want to just shine out in front of everyone else and just look amazing, really.
We were all so buzzing, that the vibe was so good, and we were all just getting in the limo and sitting there with the music loud and taking pictures in there, and it was a really new experience.
I guess the prom was important because it was a closing thing for our year group. It was the last time we were all going to see each other again, really, most of us. So it was just a nice way to say goodbye.
You've gone through like a lot in the last 5 years, and all the teachers as well, because you're definitely like never really going to see them again, and you do get quite like fond of them, and it was upsetting, but also you're having a good time and like feeling good about yourself and everything.
You can't describe a feeling like that because you're just realising that this is the end of your last secondary school and you're moving on to even a bigger education which could determine your life, and it's sad as well as happy because you're realising you're leaving people that you've become really close to, and you might in future not be as close because you're going to different colleges. But it's also happy knowing that everyone's just together and happy.
Okay, we'll do it again.
That bad.
Ready? 1, 2, 3, go. Perfect.
The kinds of relationships, both good and bad, that young people experience at this impressionable stage of their life can dictate the kinds of partnerships they form in the future. But many parents in the UK find it difficult to talk to their children about relationships and sex. As a result, school-based lessons are often the main source of information about sexual matters.
OK, if you could just look this way again, please. We're going to just focus on the question of relationships. Now, forget sex education for the time being. Let's look purely at friendship. And I would like you to talk amongst yourselves and list the qualities of what makes a good friend.
Schools still tend to concentrate on the biological aspects when actually what they need to be concentrating on are the relationship aspects, and I think we should always start from relationships.
We had trustworthy, caring and a good listener.
Trustworthy. OK, girls at the back.
We had trustworthy and they support you and they're there when you need them.
Supportive, trustworthy, and they're there for you. That's a pretty good list, and there's a lot of agreement there.
A good programme would cover the basic groundwork in Year 7, but then build. But it would also look at friendships and relationships. Good friendships, friendships that you think are okay but are actually hurtful. Those are the sort of things young people need to talk about and want to.
Which of those qualities would you see as being important in a boyfriend-girlfriend situation? And would there be any different qualities that you would bring in? Well, when it comes to guidance about sex and relationships, I would say that one good parent is worth 100 good teachers, but clearly, beside that, if you're talking about home-school partnership, then it's the duty of the school to balance that with a good quality sex education programme to provide perhaps aspects that parents wouldn't. So the sense of humour has come up again in this list, and a good personality. Anything else?
Supportive, which we put down before as a good friend.
OK, so that's the same as well. In conclusion, what we've got is a great deal of overlap in the two lists. What it takes to be a good friend is very similar in many ways to being a good boyfriend-girlfriend. We use a variety of approaches. On the one hand, we have a team of experienced teachers delivering the curriculum, but on the other hand, we invite in a string of guest experts who have some street cred. So, for instance, we use the Straight Talking organisation, where there are ex-teenage parents who talk about their experiences.
I think the worst thing with actually admitting to your parents that you're pregnant or you've got someone pregnant is not really the fact of the pregnancy, it's the fact it's kind of admitting that you've been having sex. And obviously that's probably one of the hardest things you don't really want your parents to know.
The peer educators or young mums and dads bring a touch of reality, really. They go through exactly what the experience is like. It's not all negative, but it's a very accurate, realistic picture of what being a young parent is.
Girls, first of all, I don't know whether you have a partner at the moment or not, but how many of you think that if you had a boyfriend and you found out you were expecting a baby together, do you think that your partner would stay with you?
I don't know if my boyfriend would stick by me, but some boys do and some boys don't.
Boys, please be honest, how many of you think if you were to get your girlfriend pregnant tomorrow, realistically, do you think you would stay with her? OK, wow, all but one. OK, why haven't you raised your hand then? Why do you not think?
I don't know, because it would probably be really hard having to deal with a baby at this age, and I really want to not screw up my education if I could, not really get involved with a baby at this age.
Obviously, being a parent at any age is hard, but if a teacher's standing there telling the class that, oh, don't have a child at 16 or 17, it's terrible and it'll be horrible and all this, you think, oh, what are they talking about? They don't know. So the beauty of it is that it's delivered by us. We've been there, and they really, really listen to us and sort of take it on board more than they would do if it came from a teacher. I was 17, you know, you think, wow, I'm in love and, you know, we're going to be together forever and everything like that. And to be honest, I think everyone has a relationship like that when they're younger. And then you realise when you get older that actually that wasn't what you thought it was. I think the actual quality of sex education is fairly good, but it teaches you about sex and it may teach you how not to get pregnant. The main thing at Straight Talking that we say is we fill the gap. We teach children why they shouldn't become pregnant at a young age. We show them why. I just think there's a complete lack of knowledge amongst young people. I know from my personal situation when I was younger and I was asked by my ex-partner to have a baby and I didn't think, oh, it'll be really hard or it'll be really difficult. I think if I'd had that information when I was at school, I would have then looked back on that and been able to make an informed decision rather than one that, you know, I didn't really know too much about. You know, we're not going to stop every young girl having a baby, but the majority of them, it does make them think twice.
I think what I would do with myself, what I'd like to do is I'd like to get my education sorted out, my job, have like fun first, enjoy like the first couple of adult years, and then when I'm ready to have a child. And if I was in the situation, I would do my best to sort it out because it's like a child, bringing a child into the world, so you have to be mature about it. And you have to make adult decisions even though you're not old enough to.
We hope to kind of instill in them like that ability to say no to things and to just focus on what they want to do. And that when you're a young person, you're not going to be that age forever. It's not all about now, which I think so often is the case. You don't have a long view when you're a teenager. You're in your little bubble of teenage life and that's all you think about. So to try and get them to think about the future and how it will affect their futures.
OK, I wanted us to do Romeo and Juliet, and I wanted us to do this scene.
A large part of growing up is learning how to deal with the highs and lows of love. Luca, Nikki and Rob are studying drama at sixth form college. They're very used to dealing with a wide range of emotions on stage. But as Rob found out, when love hits, your world can be turned upside down.
The big serious one was actually last year. That's when you actually feel what you call love, to be honest, and it was just a deep, deep feeling.
Oh, blessed, blessed night, I am afeard. Being in night, all this is but a dream, too flattering sweet to be substantial.
I don't know how to describe it, but it just came about out of the blue, really.
Good night indeed.
I didn't expect it to be powerful at first. I expected it just to be a bit of fun, to be honest. I hadn't really had a serious relationship before that, so I didn't really know what to expect. So, for me, it started off as just being together, but it grew and grew and grew from there.
1,000 times good night.
1,000 times the worst to want thy light. Love goes towards love like schoolboys from their books, but love from love towards school with heavy looks.
I've been in a relationship for 3 years. I was quite relieved that, like, I'd actually found a genuinely nice guy who didn't just want sex or just want, like, to do things. He actually wanted to know me. And it feels like we're both a part of each other. Like, I feel like he's a part of me and I'm a part of him. I always said, I don't know what love is, but I'm sure this is pretty, like, close enough to it at my age. And the way I feel with my boyfriend now, I've never felt with any other guy.
Love at a younger age is pretty much, if you've got a girlfriend, you think you're in love with them, and you're not. But when real love comes about, it kind of hits you in the face. It's kind of just all little moments, like just eye contact, when you're making eye contact with her. There's a little look in each of your eyes that you give, and you can just tell that that's true love.
You can't stop thinking about them. They're just on your mind constantly. I just want to speak to him all the time. I find that whenever I look at my phone, I just want it to ring from him or I want a text from him.
Our first serious relationship means so much to us, but things can go wrong.
When my relationship broke up, it was very, very, very hard for me because you love someone so much, it feels like your heart's been ripped out. You don't know what to do with yourself. You sit there at night crying, thinking, I thought I was going to be with this person for a long time, and now they're leaving me.
It started off that I actually was very bad and used to cry a lot at night and used to actually cry myself to sleep. I was at college with this person as well, so it made it harder that I saw them every day, and it was my friends that got me through it, really.
When relationships break up and it's the first time you experience a breakup and you really care about somebody, it's one of the worst times of your life. Whether it's been a 5-minute relationship or what you had thought was your long-lasting love affair. It hurts in different degrees, but we don't discuss that in the classroom. We don't discuss how do I handle it when everything ends. No one does.
My school didn't really talk about the emotional side too much. They just taught, obviously there was sex education, but they didn't really give us many talks on relationships. So I felt that I had to kind of learn that myself. I'm not sure whether it's something they expect your parents to talk to you about, and maybe it's just like you confide in your parents for that type of thing, but I think maybe having it in schools might be beneficial.
I think we have to make an arena where young people can discuss how this might feel. I certainly don't think we should protect them.
In PSHE, for example, they could put something in there and talk about relationships and breakups and what's good in relationships and what's not.
How many schools honestly listen to pupil voice and ask pupils what they want? I say all the time, ask your year 8s what it would have been helpful to know in year 7. Ask your year 9s what they would have liked to know, and so on and so forth. And go from what they're telling you, because we as adults assume the whole time what young people want to know. We should stop making assumptions and we should ask them.
If teachers are to advise young people in relationship and sexual matters in the 21st century, then they have to do so against the all-powerful, all-pervasive influence of the internet and new technology.
What we have now is the ability to bombard young people with imagery very quickly from the internet, from the media in other ways, that perhaps leads them to believe that everyone is perfectly beautiful, everyone is showing their body off and is safe to do so because apparently it's not provocative, because we're told that that's just the way people are allowed to be. We also see sexual imagery on lots of videos, lots of TV programmes.
In terms of, young people going to find out information, particularly if we're talking about sex and relationships, they may Google something or they may go online to find out information, which is a kind of a major source. However, what they get back can be 1,000, 100,000 results. How they decipher that information, decide what's true and what's real and what they take from that is quite complicated. For me, in terms of the work I do, it's really important that young people have a chance to to ask some of those basic questions which are still unanswered, even though they've got all this information.
The phenomenal rise in the popularity of social networking sites such as Facebook and the use of mobile phones has changed how teenage relationships are conducted. What used to be private and personal is now very public.
Facebook has had an impact on relationships nowadays because there's obviously the relationship status, and if somebody puts single on there and when they're in a relationship, there's going to be an uproar. And there's also like when you just put stuff about I'm feeling down at the moment, people will ask why, and then your girlfriend will come to you and be like, why are you talking to people about that? It's between us. So it can cause a lot of problems.
It's sort of a way of stalking and snooping on people's profiles, and you can get an insight and look at their lives without actually asking them.
You can talk to as many girls or boys as you want on there, and really your partner's not going to know unless they have your Facebook password. And statuses, when people put statuses, and then people can know your business, people can know everything. Anything you write, people are seeing what you're writing. Thousands of people are seeing what you're writing.
People do it for comfort, for like friends caring about them. I want to see if people care why I think this, because your girlfriend might not care at the time, and you look for other people to care for you, really, which is kind of silly, but it's what's done. Mobile phones have an impact on relationships as well. A simple thing at the end of a text, like not putting a kiss on the end of a text, can mean so much now, or a smiley face or something like that. You'll text back and be like, why are you being moody with me? But it could have been a mistake, because there's been times when I've accidentally not put a kiss on the end of a text to my girlfriend, and she'll actually call me up and start shouting at me over what's written in a text, because it can be taken in the wrong context as well, because the way you say something might be different to how it's put in a text.
Nothing in the world can prepare a young person for the emotional and physical pain of an abusive relationship. Jamie Lee is 16 and knows exactly how it feels.
When I was 13, I went into year 8. I got with my boyfriend who I was with for 3 years. Even though I was 13, I didn't feel 13. I felt really mature and I felt much older. It was exciting because obviously I was young and he was taking me out and we was going to cinema all the time and he had money and he bought me things and like he stayed around sometimes and it was all new and exciting. At first, he treated me like a princess and then after a couple of months things started changing and then when I moved from my foster home to here, that's when he started becoming abusive. I remember the first time he raised his hand to me when I was about 13. My heart started racing and I was full of shock. I went into a panic attack and started screaming and crying. It was a shock to me. He started calling me names and but it wasn't even like names like normal things, it's things that messed with my head, things that made me feel like no one cared about me, no one loved me, no one liked me. Because of the things he said, I felt like I was on my own really. I was scared to actually break up with him. I thought that no one else would want me. I thought that he's the only one that would want me, so I stayed with him for that. As our relationship carried on, I matured with every aggressive move and began to get used to it, and suddenly it was normal to me. I knew if I pushed his buttons in any way, I knew how he would react. As he started doing it more and more, kind of got used to it. It felt normal. It wasn't any shock to me at all. Like when he hit me or he smashed my head against the wall or grips me up, it was normal to me. As soon as I moved in here, he moved with me. So he knew that he had me like 24/7, so he knew that he can control me. I wasn't allowed out of the house, I wasn't allowed to go to my friends because he was scared I was going on Facebook and chatting to boys. I wasn't even allowed to walk to the shop by myself because he thought I'd go and meet boys. Anywhere I went, I would have to be with him. He kept telling me that I was ugly and no one's gonna want me. And plus I wasn't eating, so I was getting skinnier and skinnier and I was losing weight. So every time I looked at myself, I just felt physically sick. I was so used to him that it would be weird to be without him, and I didn't think that I could live without him because I was with him for so long. A year down the line, I got pregnant. I thought if I had the baby and we was a family, then he would never leave me and he wouldn't cheat on me and he wouldn't hit me and we'd be all happy and live happily ever after. When I got pregnant, I told him I thought I was pregnant and he thought I was lying to get attention. Then one day, we took the test and I was pregnant. Straight away he said, I'm going to go to prison. So to protect him, I got rid of the baby. And when I came home, he didn't ask me if I was okay. He wouldn't talk about it with me. He left me to deal with it by myself. After I did get rid of the baby, he said that he never wanted to get rid of the baby. Like, we had conversations and he sat there and cried to me and he said that Hal would be a good dad and that he would never walk away from me and my baby and stuff. So after that, I thought, I don't care, I want to get pregnant, I want to have a baby. So I took out my implant and tried to get pregnant, but it didn't happen.
Despite the abuse, Jamie Lee couldn't find the strength to end the relationship. She still believed there was hope, but the control he exerted over her was much too strong.
In summer, he broke up with me, then he accused me of cheating and he got with another girl and then he moved in with her. I remember when I found out about the girl, I just smashed a picture and I just started cutting up all my arms and he started crying and he was like, stop it. But then he walked out the house and he went and met her. That kind of made me feel like, whoa, like he really doesn't care about me anymore. I was on my knees begging him and I was crying and I was cutting myself and I was trying to kill myself and I wouldn't sleep alone because I was scared. I had to have someone sleep with me every night because I was actually scared I was going to kill myself. And I tried to kill myself about, I don't even know how many times, a lot of times.
Jamie Lee had reached crisis point. She needed help urgently. Stephen Atsley is a school-based youth worker who's known her since she was in Year 7. He's very much on the front line, working on local housing estates, providing much-needed support for vulnerable young people. He offered Jamie Lee help and advice at an important moment in her life.
Jamie Lee was going through a time in school where things were going wrong, and basically she was then referred to me. Tell me about the work thing and what we sorted out so far. For me, the important thing is that young people have got a safe space where they're able to express themselves in a confidential manner, and then maybe have some time to reflect and understand what it is that they're dealing with.
I need to work because I can't stand sitting on my bum and doing nothing all day, so I need to do something. I need to earn some money before I go to college.
It's just, how do we, become an adult? How do we sort out these relationship issues? Who do we turn to if somebody becomes aggressive? Who do we turn to for being bullied? All the same kind of things. What about all this pressure that's building up inside of me? How do I deal with that?
If you keep it all bottled inside, then one day you're just going to explode. So you have to have someone that understands and that can sit there and talk to you and understand that what you're going through.
That's good. And what about tomorrow night, with the raving thing? You're going to go out tomorrow night, yeah?
Yeah, I'm going to go out clubbing tomorrow night. He's not judgmental and he doesn't just sit there and say nothing. He actually does help me and talk to me about how I'm feeling, and he does go through things with me, but apart from that, I don't really talk to anyone.
You've no trouble, though? You've had any trouble when you've been out? There's been no problems?
No, not really.
Okay. And tomorrow night, you've been to the area before, yeah?
Mm-hmm.
It's really important to have a place where young people can openly discuss these issues, and maybe as a preemptive thing, so in PHSE, for example, it'd be great if young people are able to talk about, able to have maybe a stimulus, a prompt to discuss relationships, and then be able to kind of talk about their own situations to a degree. It's complicated. It's hard for young people sometimes to feel that they can broach dealing with these issues because they're not sure where to turn. Really, it's to sometimes kind of increase their language about that whole issue. So, many young people know when they feel bad, they know when they're feeling happy, but they don't always have a kind of an extensive language to describe and express that. And for me, one of the things that I like to do, and it's kind of termed currently as I suppose the buzzword is emotional literacy, but for me it is really important that young people do develop that language so they can more clearly articulate what it is they're feeling and start to then make sense out of the fact that actually whatever it is they're feeling is okay. And it's giving them a forum, a space to be able to talk about that, to be able to kind of ask questions, to be able to reflect on how they feel and why, and make some sense out of that, and then I suppose move on to acting out what it is they decide that they need to do about those situations they're dealing with.
You should never be blinded by love, and no matter how much you're in love or you like someone, you should never let that person disrespect you or treat you in a way that you don't feel you should be treated. When I was with him, I only saw one vision of my life, and I only saw me and him and being pregnant at a young age and not going to college and on benefit and in a council flat. But now, since we broke up, I see things completely different, in a different light. It's not all about boys and it's not all about love and how this boy treats you. You have to be yourself and do your thing and go to school and get your education and do what you're doing before you can be with someone, otherwise it's not going to work.
It's a cliche that life is short, but it is, and I think, the focus on ever grander things and bigger things actually sometimes masks the need for sometimes the simple elements of life, which is good, positive relationships, freedom, access, information, knowledge, not just bits of paper that say you've done well in maths or science or English, but actually knowledge and a way to validate themselves as individuals.
All I hope is that I have a loving husband or boyfriend, maybe a few kids.
I wish you could see.
I don't want like the riches and everything. I just want to have a normal life, find love, just live happily and be doing something that I enjoy.
All I want to do is feel like somebody cares. When I'm with you, I get that feeling every day. Though I don't know what the future may hold, but I hope